lovely students. Let's start our science session. Topic 1, Lesson 3, Obtaining and Removing Materials. We will cover in our textbook pages from 24 till 30. Let's start. The objectives of our lesson. Number 1, relate concentration gradient and diffusion. Describe the importance of passive transport and identify the role of carrier proteins in facilitated diffusion. We have to cover some vocab in our lesson: permeable, diffusion, osmosis, endocytosis, and exocytosis. Moving materials into and out of the cell. In order to live and function, cells must let certain materials enter and leave. Oxygen, water, and particles of food must enter the cell. Waste materials must move out. Let's remember together the function of cell membrane. The cell membrane, at first, it is not rigid but flexible, and the cell membrane is selectively permeable, which means some substance can cross the membrane while others cannot. This happens by one of two processes: passive transport or active transport. This movement allows the cell to maintain homeostasis, a stable internal environment, and get all the chemicals needed to support life. Passive transport is the movement of dissolved materials across the cell membrane without using cell's energy, like oxygen can move easily, and this is a kind of passive transport. Passive transport has three kinds: diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and osmosis. Type number 1, diffusion. Remember, it is passive transport and no energy. Diffusion, the movement of a substance from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Facilitated diffusion, it is a passive transport and no energy. It's a process in which proteins in the cell membrane form channels or pathway through which sugar can pass, as they cannot easily cross the cell membrane like water and oxygen. Uses no cell energy and is a form of passive transport. Osmosis, passive transport, no energy. It is the diffusion of water across a selectively permeable membrane, like a cell membrane. Cells depend on osmosis to bring water for it. If there is no enough water, most cells will die. Active transport requires energy from the cell. Is the movement of materials across cell membrane from areas of low concentration to areas of high concentration using cellular energy. Using cells' energy, transport proteins pick up materials and carry them across the cell. We have two kinds of active transport: endocytosis, inside the cell, and exocytosis, outside the cell. Endocytosis, active transport, requires energy from the cell, large molecules entering the cell. The cell membrane wraps itself around the particles, it is large food particles, and draws it into the cytoplasm. Exocytosis, active transport, requires energy. Exocytosis, large molecules leaving the cell, like some wastes. Vacuoles carrying large particles of waste move towards the cell membrane. Vacuoles fuse with the membrane and push the waste particles out of the cell.